Could you take us back to the time where you first experienced abuse in your life?
The first time I experienced abuse was by my father. He was very mentally abusing and physically abusing as well. He wasn't in my life long because he passed by the time I was 12 or 13.
So when did it start?
From the time I remember. Even moments that I don't remember. I was told a story of when I was like maybe 3, and I said something that was out of order, and I was told that he slapped me. So it gives you an idea of the type of discipline, because I definitely agree with discipline in a child, so it creates healthy boundaries. However, his was very inappropriate, and I understand it's because he experienced the same thing growing up. And back then it was normal to literally beat your children. You know what I'm saying? But even as a child, I realized that something was wrong with it. I realized that the root of it wasn't right.
So when you were a child and you realized something was wrong, do you remember the emotions that you struggled with?
Yes. Back then, I was really into people pleasing, trying to be good enough, trying to really make sure that I didn't anger him with any type of behavior. I knew something was wrong because from time to time I would go to my mom and I would ask her, well, why does he do this? And at one point I actually went to her and said, I don't think he likes me, because it seemed like it was a personal attack versus him rearing and raising a child.
So you questioned your worth as a daughter with him. And would you attempt to please him more to gain acceptance, or would you isolate yourself from him, or both?
It was more so just trying to stay out of the way.
Okay.
To be seen but not heard, because you never knew what could trigger him. Later on as an adult, I realized, because we have our own experiences, I realized that he was dealing with a lot of unhappiness within himself and his life and his life choices. And he was taking it out on the most vulnerable that couldn't fight back.
Right. And that's one of the main characteristics of a perpetrator, of an abuser, to maintain control and manipulation. So in order for him to feel like he's in charge.
To have control where he felt like he didn't have control in his life.
Yeah.
So that went on throughout my childhood. My mom and him, they would break up to make up a lot. And I noticed that I started celebrating when he would leave. Like, oh, thank God.
Like, you were
now
relieved.
I can breathe.
Yeah.
Now I can just be without being on edge as a child.
Right.
You know, and when he would come back, it was just like, oh gosh, here we go again. And it's very interesting how we have different perceptions of what we experience.
What do you mean by that?
Because I have a sister, and her experience is totally different from mine.
Interesting.
She said that she would be upset when he left because she wanted that family unit, even if it wasn't the healthiest.
So was he treating her the way he was treating you? I know you don't want to speak for her.
I don't want to speak for her. However, I can say this. He was physically, abusive with her as well. It was just a different experience because he saw a lot of strength in her, and he saw some defiance in her, because my sister has always been a very strong person, and if she didn't want to do something, she wasn't going to do it. And I believe he saw a lot of his characteristics in her, and he respected that more.
Okay.
Versus,
So some favoritism?
definitely,
That's what it sounds like.
I can say yes to that. And the reason why I can say that yes to that, it's sad, but I'm just going to speak the truth, because I learned a lot of things after he passed and as I was an adult. My mom would share different things with me. And she said that he told her one day, you think that Paulette is so good and she's this great child, but watch, she's going to grow up and turn out worse than what you think.
His own daughter.
His own daughter.
His own daughter.
She's going to turn out, and he said, he used my sister's name. It's going to turn out worse than her.
I know that there's a lot of survivors that are watching that are curious about the faith, and they want to know God at a personal level. So some of them might be looking at this like, wow, I want that. I want that kind of relationship. If you had anything to say to a survivor that has children, or a survivor that's looking for healing, a faith-based, something spiritual, something different aside from what they can provide within themselves, what would you tell them? What encouraging words would you give them?
I would say, remember that you are his child first.
Yeah.
And remember that he loves your child even more than you do. And he wants you to succeed in all that you do. And he's there to help you and cheer you on and lead you and guide you. So lean and depend on that. Rest in that. Rest in the fact that he's here. And he said he'll never leave us, never forsake us. And we're never without help. That's where I go back to when Jesus was about to depart. And his disciples were like, no, basically like, don't go. What are we going to do without you? And he said, I'm going to send you the Holy Spirit. He's going to be who I am in your life. But the beautiful thing is he's there at any moment. So if you're having that time of doubt or uncertainty as far as your parenting or whatever, call on him. That's what helped me get closer to the Father, is talking to him like I would a father.
That was going to be my follow-up question. What does your spiritual walk look like on the daily?
On the daily, it is just me talking to him like he is my Father. That right there really set me free when I got away from, prayer is just getting on your knees and asking for this or asking for that.
That it had to look like a certain way.
Prayer is me in the middle of traffic saying, Father, please help me get through this, and please, I just went off on somebody. Please forgive me. Please help me to be sweeter. That's what it is. It's just communing with him. It's just talking to him. Prayer is, what should I wear on Mindshift Thrive today? I have no idea. I'm not used to doing this. Help me. That's what it is.
Help me, help the ministry.
Help me, help you, help.
And the survivors.
Yes.
And any which way. In the details.
It's simplified.
Details.
He busies himself in the details. It's an everyday thing, and it brings us back to the beginning when he walked and talked with Adam and Eve in the cool of the day. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't about rituals and you have to do it this way. He wants it to be simple.
Yes.
Simple. Love is simple. It's supposed to be simple. It's supposed to be inviting. There's supposed to be an ease.
Yeah.
And once I discovered that ease in my relationship with him, it makes things easier.
Oh my goodness.
It takes the pressure off.
I feel the same way.
Yes.
I'm like, he doesn't want us to struggle. He already
weren't
paid it
created
on
for
the
that.
cross.
We weren't created for that.
No.
We weren't created to carry so much anxiety, so much stress, so much pressure. We weren't created for that. I remember one minister said that he was talking with God, and God told him, if sin would have never happened, he said he wouldn't have never had one serious thought. He wants to bring us back to that, where there is an ease, a rest in him,
Yes.
an assurance in him.
Yes. It's beautiful.
It's available. Thank God.